Okay, so a little bonus problem, another inequality one. This one's a little bit more challenging because you don't start out with 0 on one side and one expression. So getting 0 on one side is not bad. You're just going to move this to the other side. 3 over x minus 12 is greater than or equal to 0. Ha! I got 0 on one side. Oh, but wait. You need to write that with one expression. So that means combining these terms. And to do that, I'll notice that oops, that shouldn't be an x. It should be a 1 there. My bad. To do that, I'm going to say that 12 is really 12 over 1. And to combine these things, I need a common denominator. So that common denominator would be what? X. So if I multiply by x over x, that's still a 0. Then I get 3 over x minus 12x over x is greater than or equal to 0. Now, I don't want to cancel these things because I just got myself a common denominator. And the reason I did that is so that I can combine these. I get 3 minus 12x over x is greater than or equal to 0. And that's how you need to start out on this one, is you need to get that 0 on one side and then write the other side with one expression. The rest of this is the same. Want to find where the numerator equals 0 and where the denominator equals 0. Well, that's not going to be too hard. 3 minus 12x equals 0 means 3 equals 12x. And if you divide both sides by 12, I get 1/4. Can someone tell me where the denominator equals 0? Well, just x, right? X equals 0 is where the denominator equals 0. So you've got these 2 points. This is what WebAssign calls the critical numbers. If all the problem asks you is what are the critical numbers, you'd be done. But I think they go a little bit farther than that. So let's put those 2 critical numbers on a number line. So that's going to be a 0 here and a 1/4 here. And now I want to go back and work with this a little bit. But before I do that, there's one thing that I always suggested here, and that was set up your intervals. And the reason I want you to set them up now is because later when I start putting my test points, it's easy to get those intervals and these endpoints here confused with your test points. You don't want to do that. So negative infinity to 0, 0 to 1/4, and 1/4 to infinity. 1 or 2 of these is going to be our interval. So by request, we're going to do this on the graphing calculator. The thing that you want to put in the graphing calculator is exactly what you have here. It's what we work to get. The expression that has 0 on one side. So let's put that into our graphing calculator. You can also put that in Desmos in that link that I sent you. So let me delete that. Of course, I guess I got to do one thing first, and that is let's clear this out. So you hit the y equals key. Let's put in, with parentheses, 3 minus 12x. 12, and then the x key is up here. Parentheses, all that divided by x. You don't need parentheses around the denominator part. If it was x minus 2 or x plus something, then you'd need parentheses around the denominator part. Now, just as a reminder, before I go to our tables, you can take a look at your table setup by hitting the second key and the window key. You want independent set to ask, dependent set to auto. That means when you put in the x of your choice, it gives you the y value automatically. So let's do that. Go over here to table. And now it's telling me that, oh, well, wait, you need to figure out some test points. So, okay, Ashley, maybe you can help me out. What are some test points that I can use in these intervals? So -1 and 1. Now for the middle one, let me see if I can't help things out by putting in a 0.25. All right? Because I got to figure out something between 0 and 0.25. So what would be a good test point in there? Sure, 0.15. Yeah, why not? 0.15. So those will be my test points. Let's go back to our calculator. When you're typing in a negative number, use the opposite key on the bottom row of your calculator. So -1 there, and then 0.15 with a suggestion for the middle interval, and finally 1 for the last one. What's the information I need to get out of this table? Perfect. Thank you, Mahar. Negative, positive, negative. So let's write that in here. Negative, positive, negative. Do I want the negative intervals, or the positive interval? Positive, because I want to know where this is greater than 0. So that means this one. But because it's a greater than or equal to, I got to decide which endpoints I want to choose. Now, you can think it through a couple ways. One of them, you can realize, oh, wait, I can't have 0 in the denominator, so I'll do a parenthesis there. But if you want to do it a little bit more, if you're more married to the technology, you can type in a 0 and see that you get an error. Whereas if you type in 1/4, and I'll type it in as 0.25, I get a 0. 0 is less than or equal to 0. I can use that. No problem there. So as far as your final answer is concerned, what should it look like? 0 and 1/4. One of these gets a parentheses, one of them gets a bracket. Which one's which? 0 gets a parenthesis, 1/4 gets a bracket. And that's it. Nailed it. Looking good there? Awesome.